Good,
All
huh?
right. Okay, so yesterday,
Oh,
Cody,
oh my
I met
God.
with a new student, and his name is Michael, and
Michael.
he was so inspired, right, by
Oh
what
my.
you've accomplished, and he is about your age, and he's been playing the piano mostly on his own, kind of like how you did before, and
Wow.
he's just very inspired by what you can do. So his mom reached out to me, and we had our first lesson. So it reminded me so much of when how you started, right? So I tell people
Wow.
to keep working hard, right? And you're just
Ooh,
such an inspiration for a lot of people in the world. So keep doing
hey.
what you're doing, Cody.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Okay? Because you do not
Oh,
know who you reach, right? And you have made a big difference, right? And definitely changed the world for the better. And many
thank
people, right? Many people continue to be inspired by you.
you.
Okay, well, and I
Wow.
also, right, have told many people that that are serious about doing piano exams, and I tell them, well, Cody has done the level 10 RCM exam. Would you
Oh
like to
my.
try it too? Right? So that's something, right? That
Wow.
again is just it's unbelievable, right? That you went through that process, right? That whole um, journey of preparing for a very formal examination and a very rigorous one, right? With a lot
Ah,
of requirements, a lot of um, it wasn't just the repertoire, right? You remember, right? It was a whole bunch of technical things and learning the terminology, right? Learning the formal names, right, to go with specific patterns, and just the amount of music you had to prepare, right? It was just it's
wow.
unbelievable, right? What you accomplished. Even if you had just sat through the exam, right, it would have been something amazing as it was. But not only did you sit through the exam, of course, your score was phenomenal, right? So
Wow.
you got 92, right, out of 100,
92.
which was first class honors with distinction, right? That is an incredible score. So the reason we do these piano exams, right, is not just so that at the end of the day we get a piece of paper, right, saying that we passed the exam, but it's to just remind us, right, that playing the piano is something that you have to. It's not something that stops, right? Once even after the exam, the learning does not stop, right? You continue to learn and you continue to explore, and those technical requirements, they're kind of just like basic workout if you want, right? It keeps you fit, right? So somebody who wants to be fit, right? They go to the gym, right? They do the same routine, right, every day, but it's something you have to do, right? So to keep up with your fitness. So those technical requirements, those scales, those arpeggios, those broken chords, you see how we use them in actual pieces, right? In actual repertoire. So
Wow.
even after the exam, right, we do not want to kind of just completely discard them, right? We almost want to just every now and then, right, see if we still know it. And then we challenge ourselves to do the keys that we didn't have to do in the exam. So in the
Wow.
exam, they only ask you to prepare for specific keys, right? Which for you it was one, two, three, four, five, six keys, right? But there
Wow.
are others, of course, right? So I think what would be quite a good idea is in every lesson, right, we go through the requirements that you already did, but using different keys. So it's kind of old, but it's kind of new. Okay. For
Wow.
example, in the exam, you did G flat major scale, you did G
Wow.
major scale, you did A
Hey.
flat major scale, A major, B flat major, and B major, right?
Wow.
So basically, the second half of the chromatic scale, right?
Yeah.
So for level 10, they focus on the second half of the chromatic scale. So we can focus on the first half. Sound like a
Wow.
good idea? Okay.
Cool, huh?
So the first half, right, would of course start on the note C, right? And some people say C major is easy, right? Because it doesn't have any black notes. But it actually is not so easy, right? B major is easy because of the black notes, right? It just falls very naturally. C major is actually not all that easy, right?
Wow.
But why don't you play, right? Why don't
Woohoo.
you play the C major scale?
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Woo.
Not bad, right? Not bad. So the C major scale is tricky because you have to think, right? Is it time to use my fourth finger yet? No, it's not, right? That's not the fourth finger in the left hand yet. This is the fourth finger, right? So we want to play it so we do not have any of these hesitations.
Wow.
Let's try it again. I bet you can do even more better. Right?
Nice.
So now that you've done it, remember to think about the fourth finger. In the left hand is D, in the right hand is B, right?
Wow.
Go.
Nice.
It is accurate, right? You do not have any wrong notes, you do not have any wrong numbers, but that fluency, right? We want to aim for that really fluent scale.
Wow.
I think what you can do, Kodi, is you can lift your wrist just a little bit.
Yeah.
When your wrist is too low, it's very hard for the thumb to tuck in. So I would keep my wrist a little higher, yeah, and open my elbows a little bit. Open your arms. The wrist higher. Yeah, especially on the way down in the right hand. Right? Right. You want to keep your wrist a little higher, and your hand should be pointing slightly towards your left hand.
Wow.
So on the way down, the right hand is not perfectly perpendicular to the keyboard. So it's sort of pointing towards your left hand. Okay? And on the way up is the opposite. On the way up, your left hand does not need to be perpendicular. Your left hand can be slightly angled, so it's pointing towards the right hand. Right? So that's upstairs. And you want to do it so there's no feeling of anxiety, right?
Wow.
You do want to have any feeling of was that supposed to be that, right? So it needs to be really fluent. Okay, let's try it again.
Woohoo.
Keep the wrist a little higher. Think about the angle of the hand. It's already better, okay? And then, of course, we do the minors that go with C, right? So C harmonic minor.
Ooh.
This wasn't one that you had to do for level 10, but let's see if you know the notes.
Wow. Ooh.
Okay, well, I'm really glad that we're doing it, right? Because like I said, these are building blocks, right, of a lot of pieces that we play. So we really want to know these scales like the back of our hand, right? We want to be able to play them just like that. And if we cannot, we work on it, right? Every day we play. So this particular one, like I said, we didn't have to play this particular scale in level 10, so we never went over it, right? But which is why I'm thinking to myself, okay, he did the exam, but the exam focused on certain elements. There's still, of course, a lot left to learn still, right? So this one we never done, so at first you probably were not very sure, right? What the notes are. I'm sure you know what it should sound like, right? So as soon as you play the wrong note, you were aware of it, and then you find the right note. So let's play a little slower so we know exactly one note to play. We want E flat, we want A flat, and then B natural, right? So that's the harmonic minor interval right here. That will be 20 seconds.
Wow. Ooh.
Yep, that's it. Those are the notes.
Nice.
That's so much better, okay?
Wow.
So with every new scale you play, okay? Go slower at first so you figure out what you need, and then you work on fluency. Now, in order to create or achieve fluency, remember to think about how you position your arms and how you position your wrist. If your arms are too close to your body or your wrist is too low, it's very hard to play fluently. So you free up, right? Free up your arms and keep the wrist a little higher, okay? And remember, the angle of your hand is important, okay? So. Okay, your turn again. Alright, and then C melodic minor. What do you think that would be like? Okay, same thing, right? Because it's new, at first you are not quite sure exactly what you need to do, but because you're very smart, right? Immediately when you make a mistake, you know how to fix it. But our goal is to try to prepare, right? Prepare for the difference. So melodic minor is different on the way up and down. So we want to be sure that we are aware to change the notes. And first time, we always go slow, right? So we have more time to think. Here is the difference. Right, see? Right? Yeah. So once we play slow, then we go, okay, I get it now. Okay.
Nice.
It's better, right? It was better. Can we try it again? Make it as good as the C major.
Wow.
Okay. The going down was harder, wasn't it? Can we try practice going down? You need to keep your wrist higher, right? The wrist is a little higher. You understand. All right. So what I'm trying to say is make a habit, right, of practicing the technique. The first thing you do, right, when you practice. So just before you sit down and practice your pieces, you go, okay, let me do a couple of these technical patterns, okay? So start with your C major, your C harmonic minor, and your C melodic minor, okay?
That's right.
And then remember, separated by third, right? So what does that mean? C and E. Right, so the right hand doesn't play C, it's gonna play E. And it's gonna be very close to each other, right? So you try. Tricky, right? Okay, so we try it and we go, oh gee, that was harder than I thought, right? So what do? We go slow, right? So we go slow again. All right, the finger is the tricky part, right? You have to keep remembering the fourth finger. Okay, fourth finger plays D. Sometimes I think you missed it. Fourth finger has to play D. D, 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 right?
Nice.
whole entire time. It never changed.
Ooh. Dang. Wow.
It's better, okay?
Woo.
And then once you can do it, you try to go faster, right? To build fluency again. Okay? All right. I will leave that there so we can move on, okay? But I want you to do this every day, okay?
Wow.
So each week we'll introduce a key and you do these, right, before you practice your pieces. And this is
Wow.
also very useful whenever you get to a new place, right? Suppose you go into a new concert hall and you are having to, play on that piano that you do not know anything about, right?
Wow.
Can't carry our pianos with us everywhere we go. So every time you go to a new place with a new piano that you are not used to, just having played through some of these scales almost gets you to experience, right? See the different registers of the piano. So you get more familiar with what that particular piano feels like. Okay?
Wow.
And you become friends with it. Okay, and then it will do what you want it to do, right? So after you do the separated by third, the next one is separated by a six.
6.
Remember what that one means, right? So that means the right hand will play C, but the left hand will play E. Yep, so the interval is a 6. Okay?
Wow.
Well done, okay?
Wow.
And then we can do the chromatic, right? So
Wow.
okay. All right, right? So we haven't done this in a while, right? Together. And this is why I'm bringing it up again, right? Because like I said, these are building blocks, right? We always want to be able to play them, okay? So I noticed you forgot the fingering, okay, for the chromatic scale.
Wow.
Can I remind you? So the fingering is, you see this better?
Ooh.
It was better. Right? So the fingering is 1 and 3 basically, right? White note is 1, black note is 3. White note is 1, black note is 3. White note is 1, and if there's another white note, you use 2. 3, right?
Wow.
So you don't have to use 4 and 5.
Wow.
And on the way down, you will switch the order. So black note is 3, white note is 2, if there's 2 of them, and then followed by 1. Right? So we never cross fingers. So if you do 1 first and then 2, you're crossing, right? So 3, 2, 1. And the goal, again, now keep your wrist high, right? We do not want to touch this part of the piano, right? This is the sideboard, right? We do not touch. So keep the wrist high. Plenty of room for the thumb to tuck in because the thumb has to be very active, right? It's doing the tucking in all the time, right? When you play a regular scale, see, after 3 notes, you worry about the thumb. And then after 4 notes, you worry about the thumb. Chromatic scale, you have to worry about your thumb all the time, right?
Yeah.
1, 3, tuck, tuck. It's like every other note almost.
Nice.
So you need to keep a very high wrist so your thumb can have room to go in, okay, under the other fingers. And keep a circle. Pretending to make a circle with your fingertips. Imagine touching your thumb and your third finger. Let your thumb and your third finger kiss each other. So then they form a circle, okay?
Wow.
So, right? problem might be.
Wow.
At first, everybody use thumb, right? That's very easy. But then when you get to the next C, they are not the same finger anymore, right? Left hand is 1, right hand is 2. So they are not mirroring anymore. They are not the same, right? That's 1, that's 2, right? The two hands aren't having the same number. So potentially, it's a little tricky, right? But
Yeah.
do it again, I bet you'll be even more better.
Yeah. Ooh.
You got better, right? There was still a little glitch, right? So that means we should still go a little slower until we completely can play it. That's better, okay? Now, of course, right? The problem with the chromatic scale is that sometimes, right, one hand goes faster because I don't know about you, my right hand is a little bit more active, right? So it's easy to have the two hands traveling at slightly different speed. And of course, that doesn't sound good, right? So you need to make sure, right, they're traveling at the same exact speed. So they're absolutely synchronized. So there is not even one place where the two notes are like that, right? All right, so anyway, I just want to point them out to you, right, in the lesson. So after the lesson, you can practice more on your own, okay?
Wow.
So that should be something that you do every day, right? Just a little bit of technique, right? A little bit of getting used to get your fingering, right, for scales. We won't be doing the other stuff today because that will take too long, but each time we'll do a little bit, okay? So now let's work on our repertoire. So we have been doing the 2 nocturnes by Chopin, right? The first one, B flat minor, and the second one, E flat major. And they're very different, right? They have different figurations in the left hand, and different character, of course.
Nice.
So I think last time, right, I asked you to listen to some recordings, right?
Wow.
we mentioned some really good interpreters of Chopin's music. Do you remember their names?
Nice. Oh my goodness.
Who's your favorite pianist for Chopin?
Favorite pianist.
You have one?
It's nocturne.
Well, we're working on the nocturnes, right? So I know you have, right? Because I remember not the last week, maybe the week before or something, I said, okay, we're gonna learn this piece next. Before we learn it, I want you to listen to it, okay?
Oh, nice.
Using whatever resources you have, whether you use Spotify or YouTube, right?
Wow.
It's easy to find performances, right, of these classics, of these masterpieces. So I know you must have done it because I did not go over the piece at all, right, with you. And then the next lesson, you pretty much could play it for me, right? So that means you heard it, right? So I wonder who you listen to. But I wanted also, right, to remind you, every time we work on Chopin, right, there are so many pianists out there these days, right? It's a matter of how much time you have, right? If you have a lot of time, of course, you want to listen to as many different versions, right? Different interpretations as there can be out there. But if you have limited amount of time, right, then the go-to, right? Go-to meaning you must listen to this version.
Wow.
You can listen to other versions, right? But this is the one you got to listen to. So the one I mentioned was Paulini, remember? Paulini. Yes, all right. Always make sure you find his recording, right? And of course, Arthur Rubinstein. Right?
Wow.
Those are very big Chopin interpreters.
Nice.
There are many others, of course, but at least listen to these 2.
Wow.
Okay, so the B flat minor nocturne, right? The problem, I think, right, is that sometimes, right, it can be overly too expressive.
Wow.
So you have to find the fine line, right? You don't want to play. That's too fast, of course, right? And also too robotic. I'll probably do slower. That's too robotic, right?
Wow.
That is almost zero rubato, right? Zero expressiveness. But at the same time, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to go. That's too much. So
Wow.
you want to find the right balance, right? So I
Wow.
think we said in the beginning, right? We want to be somewhat straightforward, right? Somewhat innocent yet expressive. So you have to
Wow.
make sure you time it perfectly, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you want to have somewhat of an innocent quality, but as the piece progresses, right, you can be a little bit more, right? And you can have more variations as the theme repeats.
Wow.
Okay, so
Nice.
let's have you play, right?
Woohoo. Yeah.
Well, let's work on that, right? So this is the end, basically.
Wow.
Okay, so the melody has come to an end. Now make sure you find all the notes. Sorry, E flat. I didn't hear this E flat there. Okay, I'll do this measure again for you. And you really want to be quite slow on this last F, right?
Wow.
It's almost like you give up, right? It should have a little bit of a hopeless feeling, right? So despair, right? It's like, what are we going to do, right? It has a pretty hopeless, like a despair, and then you don't give up after all. You try again, right? But you see, at the end of it, it needs to feel so sad, right?
Wow.
Perhaps a bit too much that time, but then you resurrect and you try again, right? So you didn't give up after all. Okay? Turn. Beautiful. Good job. We forgot the left hand, right? So listen to this second one. That one I didn't hear correctly, right? Sorry, right? That one is okay. The second one, right? Our left hand wasn't quite right. So can you fix that measure, please?
Wow. I think.
So close, right? So you fix the F, but then we didn't get this other F, right? So it was the second half. Right? Do you see the octave? So listen again.
Wow.
Your first half was perfect.
Nice.
So we are really fine-tuning, right? Every little something I want to point out.
Wow.
Well, this trio is fine. Now, only play 3 notes in. So this is not a trio, right? This is just a modern. And make sure you find the left-hand note as well, right? Okay.
Woohoo. G flat in between the 2 right hand notes. Listen one more time. See? That particular group. And then you are so soft and so slow, which is just perfect. Wow.
Right? And then new section. Okay?
Ooh. Wow.
Okay, and that's not easy because there are these little chromatic alterations, and
Wow.
the pattern, it seems to be pretty much this da 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 da, right? But every now and then it's not quite like that, right? Every now and then there are changes, right?
Wow.
Like this one, da 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 da. That's a little bit different, right? So you were highly accurate. But I want to, of course, mention, right, this section absolutely sometimes needs the soft pedal. So the soft pedal is which pedal? Do you know?
Wow.
Which foot do you control the soft pedal with?
The soft pedal. Nice. Look at
You know which one's the soft pedal, right? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Now this is the problem. You cannot play the entire section with a soft pedal. That's too
Wow.
much. Okay.
That's good.
But you also cannot play this section without any use of the soft pedal.
Wow.
So then the problem is exactly where do you use it, right? Well, that's
Wow.
kind of the art, right, of the interpreter, right? So the
Wow.
interpreter has to decide, okay?
Nice.
So Chopin does give us a little idea, right? So whenever it's quiet, he wrote PP, of course,
Wow.
and then he would even write sotto voce, which means in an undertone. But sometimes he writes PPP.
Beep, beep, beep.
So yeah, 1P is quiet, right?
That's
2P
good.
is very quiet.
Wow.
3P is extremely quiet, right?
Nice.
So every time the harmony is this, right? He writes PPP.
Wow.
So for me, that has to be soft pedal, right? So if we go from here, right? Am I right here? Listen. Now PPP. Now let's think about it. That's an amazing harmony in the context, right, of this measure, of this section, because we are in D flat major, right?
Wow.
That's D flat major, right? Essentially we are in D flat major, right? But then we go into D major, right? That's quite magical. You see what I mean? Do you hear that transition? D flat major, ooh, and then D major, right? That's what we call magical, right?
Wow.
That's a very magical moment. So use the soft pedal, right? Whenever it got to this D major measure, right? And then let go of the soft pedal when you have this sforzando there. And then off you go again. Okay? In other words, use the soft pedal, right, for places that are very magical, very different, right? Different from what? From what we were used to, right? We were used to the D flat major tonality, and now we go into this D major chord. Can you try that? So when you get to that chord, right?
Yeah.
Just a little delay, little slower, and very, very quiet with the help of the soft pedal.
Wow. Ooh.
Okay, your turn.
I did.
Alright, you understand me. Thank you, okay? In other words, we use the soft pedal, right? Not to necessarily play soft, because we can play soft without the soft pedal.
Nice.
But we use the soft pedal for color change.
Color change.
Right? For color change, yeah. So if you think of D flat major as a particular color, right? Then D major is a very different color, right? So for color change or for mood change.
Wow.
So it gives a different atmosphere. It gives a different aura. It gives a different color, right? A different taste, right? So for you, maybe color is not such a good analogy. So think of something that tastes different, right? So maybe D flat major is like chocolate, right? Let's say, right? Rich and yummy, right? Then what's D major? Well, maybe it's strawberry, right? See? They're both sweet, right? Chocolate is sweet, strawberry is sweet. That's a different kind of sweet, right? For me, chocolate is a rich, velvety, right? That's the D flat major. And the D major is strawberry, right? More refreshing, right? The sweetness of the strawberry is more refreshing. It's more natural, right? It's more pure, right? Okay, something like that, right? So think of taste, right? Whenever you get these different harmonies. Okay, Kodi, we are doing great, right? So your listening assignment this week, right, is another famous nocturne by Chopin. So it's the Opus 55, okay? It's in F minor. The beginning sounds like this. Very well known.
Wow.
But we've never done it, right? So
Wow.
we're gonna do it.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your listening assignment. Listen to different recordings of that piece so you get an idea, right, of what it sounds like. And next week we'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye bye.
Worked very hard. Teach your technique. Bye.
Woohoo.